Welcome. So, you all are back for another episode of this series titled Pivot Chats. And it's all about different stories from my clients, myself, my past clients, about how we have navigated the process of taking this amazing career path or business that we've built and turned it into something brand new. So, I have a special treat for you today. I'm super excited to bring up one of my favorite, they're all my favorite, but one of my favorite clients, Lauren Wells, and she's going to be talking about her experience and how we started working together in a very casual chat. You get to have the insight to this. So I'm looking forward to that. Now, if this is your first time here for this series or any of my lives, my name is Kirsten Allen. I am a career pivot strategist. Experts, career professionals come to me when they're ready to figure out how to take the career that they've built and turn it into a brand new stream of income, brand new business model, or even career in corporate. That being said, now I will bring up Lauren to the stage just to give you a little bit of an introduction of who she is. She is a mindfulness and gut health expert. She is a tech app founder, pitch competition winner, all the great things. And I'm excited for her to talk about her journey in taking that and turning it into corporate contracts and even landing one of the exciting corporate contracts that she's had that we will get into and talk about more. So if you're here, yes, be sure to comment. So hey there, and let us know that you're here and what you are getting out of this. Okay, so without further ado, I am going to bring Lauren up on the stage.
Hi.
Hey.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear
Okay.
you.
Hey,
How are
Kirsten.
you?
Good. How are you doing?
Good. I love the background. I love it all. It's giving what it's supposed to give. How are you?
Pretty good. I'm excited and definitely grateful to be here. I was blushing in the background as you were sharing the things, and we know I'm your favorite. Okay, we're going to
Yes.
just say that, but you're my favorite too. So it's definitely be a pleasure. Working with you, and I can't wait to share the experience as has everything been.
Yes, absolutely. Okay, so first, let's get it kicked off. I gave them a little teaser, but tell us, drop all the things, tell us about the app, tell us everything that you're doing in the wonderful world and your expertise.
Yeah, so hello everyone. As Kirsten said, my name is Lauren Wells. I'm mostly known as Lauren LC, the Gut Health Bestie. I am a certified digestive health coach. I coach women on prioritizing spiritual well-being and gut health for vibrant, healthy, and happy lives. We're all about utilizing self-care, gut health, and mindfulness so women can find peace and purpose. It's been quite a journey. Hervival has been around since 2021. It was birthed throughout the pandemic, having a community of women of color and learning more of their challenges as they were trying to prioritize self-care and getting to be healthier and exercise, and seeing the ongoing story of struggling with being consistent and knowing what to do and lacking visibility and support, especially in the different realms that they're all like boss women at, with that, whether in their careers. And it really sabotages a lot of areas where they experience where they don't feel seen, heard, or worthy enough. That also affects in their way of them pouring into themselves. So over time, learning their challenges and everything, we have grown our community very shortly in a few months throughout the pandemic. And it was actually birthed by accident. I actually couldn't walk for about 8 months. And then when the pandemic happened, I was right in the midst of physical therapy. So I was like, I got to keep working out. Y'all say I want to get healthy. So I'm going to be here every Monday, Wednesday, Friday morning. And then people just started sharing, and it grew a community super fast. But, really hearing the needs of the women and what they were struggling with, I saw the need of curating a more safe space for women of color when it comes to prioritizing ourselves and our well-being. And in February 2021, I launched the app, having resources that we can have of our own to support the women on their journeys.
I love that. I love that so much for all the reasons. And I'm just thinking about recently how I have done the power session with you and just how it's been so valuable to me. So even though we're talking about, you and your experience with me, I also want to share that I also get invested to my clients' businesses and the things that they're doing, especially if there's direct synergy. Like, you're the expert at this, so you're going to be my number one resource when I need this, or I find that other people need it as well. So I recognize and like how we serve similar spaces in different ways and can
Mhm.
leverage each other's expertise, because I work with leaders. So y'all can see that just
And yeah,
in
I work
what
with
we've
leaders.
shared so far.
And
So,
to be a
okay.
leader, we just need help in so many different realms, you know what I mean? So, and a leader, we're always serving everyone else. We're always here for, I see it common, big leaders that really struggle in areas to take care of themselves. Like, we don't have that much, like, as much as we tell everyone else to do, we want somebody to tell us what to do when it comes to like eating well and where we're
Yes.
having our blocks at when it comes to like gut health, things like that. And that's exactly what her Bible is about.
I love it. I love it. So y'all make sure y'all check out her Revival if you are in the space of needing some more support in that area. She's your go-to girl. So let's go back. Now, you created this amazing business. It had the growth, the community, and all the things. What made you interested in now saying, okay, I think I have something that I could take to corporate?
Yeah, so it's funny because like we just shared, like we work with leaders, right? So,
Yeah.
high level women in every aspect, whatever they want to define as a leader, whether you're a leader as an entrepreneur, a leader in your career, seeing where uh they started to evolve from a lot of the teachings that we talked about like mindfulness and how to practice and how all these aspects. What happened, what started to be a pivot where I didn't even realize I had an avenue myself as my company from corporate, because I like left corporate as an employee years ago for me.
Mhm.
One of my clients was just like, I need you to come talk to my staff. Like, I need you to come and lead, like, can you lead some type of mindfulness like workshop? We like, focusing on like, practices for mental health and things like that. So I created a really well structured curriculum to help, leaders within corporations or nonprofits. It's been a few that I worked with over time on how to practice mindfulness, and especially for people who struggle with meditation. And
Mhm.
I had a curriculum on how they can start like their workshops and stuff like that with these aspects. And then I just started to see like, wow, okay, this is something that can evolve. And I know that there are companies that work with corporate. Like, I have all the bells and whistles here. Like, why, like, how can I see that work?
Yeah.
And, throughout our network, you were like the first person to go. But it was funny because we crossed paths on social media. And I think I remember like posting something and saying like, how do you start getting more contracts and stuff like that? Because I know I have a very well curriculum to help with corporations and starting to practice and make a culture of wellness, especially for people of color. And, it has to be culture relevance in a way because of
Mhm.
traumas and other things that a lot of people of color struggle in an area with practicing like meditations, mindfulness in that way. So
Yeah.
I remember crossing the path, and then somewhere along the line, when you came back around, I was like, oh yeah, I remember her. That's the girl. Cause she gave me a couple things before we even really talked, like a few things of what to look at. The ERG, I didn't know none about that stuff. When I say I was out of corporate, I like closed the door, didn't even want to learn the terms. And you knew the things of what to, like, you already gave me value through a quick crossing paths in the streets of Facebook, So, those were things that once the path crossed and I seen that you had a service to support, I felt very comfortable, and I knew like your expertise, like you were really sharp and you had a lot of great value to offer even before I decided to work with you.
Yeah, I love that. Okay, so I want y'all to take a little pause right here and catch this. She said that she already had a proven curriculum. She knew she had something to offer. She had built this business, and she took the successes of what she created and turned that into a solid curriculum that corporate could use. I think that's important because some people want to jump to corporate contracts like out the gate as a way to I guess, think they're going to land the 6-figure contract, as soon as they start the business or things like that. There's so many things online about how to grow a business, and some people want to skip steps. But it's important that when you're going, especially to speak to corporate organizations, even if you don't necessarily master the language yet, right? You got to have something solid to offer, something that you already know works, is tried and true and tested, and it's based on your unique frameworks and experiences. So that's super important as a first line step. If you're listening to this, try to figure out how do you know if you're ready? That's definitely one of your primary steps you want to focus on. So with that being said, all right, so you landed something before through a client. I want to talk about now, all right, we're working together. What are some of the things that you felt like, hey, this is what I needed to know, or what really was valuable in our first engagements and working together?
Yeah. So like you said, I did have a curriculum. I saw that there was something that I can continue. Like I was like, okay, this was pretty simple. I have these things. I have great testimonials. I didn't know quite how to like wash, rinse, and repeat and pitch it. I didn't have the pitch skills I have today. Especially in the realm of corporate, because I didn't technically have a B2B offer. I was always B2C, like working, with directly as far as with the consumers, coaching. That was always my realm. I didn't quite know how to shift gears or where to even look for more opportunities besides within my network. Like of those who I knew and asked questions and still didn't quite know how to get through the door or how to represent myself. So with working with you, you definitely equipped me to fine tune what I had. I had things, but you want to make sure it's appealing. Like my stuff was always appealing to the consumer, not necessarily appealing to a company. So those were things that was really helpful. Like I had LinkedIn for years. You helped me learn how to really optimize my LinkedIn. That was a huge one. So I didn't realize that I wasn't really set up on LinkedIn as an expert that can be appealing to support organizations, whether it is corporate or nonprofit. So those were huge things of like seeing where I can take my expertise and show that I have value, right? So it just was like you helped me kind of like spread the cast a little wider than what I had, and really helped me to see like, okay, if you already have these things here, you definitely have value in this space. So that was more of the things. And then the language, it's some of the language has to shift and change. I didn't know how to really go towards organizations to ask what specific initiatives they have that I can be able to assist in what ways. So even if I do have to pivot outside of my exact curriculum, I knew, where to play the field. So you literally gave me the game, like you were literally the coach of like, okay, here's the game, here's the field, here's where you have value, here's how to position yourself, here's some things you might want to clean up or, put in place. And that you had that down to the T, and I was able to just like wash, rinse, and repeat that.
Yeah. Love it. Love it. Okay. So now you've gotten this process. What would you say may have been either like a learning curve or kind of challenge as you were moving into this process of going after corporate and even having someone as your guide? Obviously, the implementation part of it can be daunting for some people. So let's kind of put some words around how that experience was. And then what did you need or what did you get from our engagement that helped you be able to move forward?
Yeah. So I'm kind of laughing because the part that I didn't love was actually like the sales calls, like, okay, you got the people, you got the attention. I'm kind of like, can you just go to my website and book me? Like, so, and, and not to say I wasn't, I know what I know, but just the uncomfortable part of what if they ask me something or, just whatever the case may be, or I just never knew what to expect on a phone call for a corporate sales call, especially being that I was still new at that time last year in the B2B sector. So that I would say that was the part that was not necessarily a learning curve, but had to like open up. Like I said, when I say I closed the corporate doors and all the skills, like unconsciously, I still had the skill sets, but kind of like closed and felt like, oh, I don't have to. So glad I don't have to deal with that space anymore.
Yeah.
I had to bring it back out and be in those spaces. So not necessarily a learning curve, but just kind of like easing any kind of anxiety I might have had, or just overwhelm or questions or doubts. You helped me to know, like, this is the things that need to be specified. These are the things to even listen for. That was a huge one. Not even knowing what to listen for, because initially when you're having a call, you're just seeing synergy, right? And
Yep.
everybody don't know how to do that. They just know what they do and how they do it, and not knowing how to have a conversation for synergy and seeing what ways is valuable on both parts, because it's more than just going to someone and saying, hey, I'm good at this. This is what people pay me for to hire me. It may not be a need for the organization at that time. So
Yes.
the perspective, like all those things in the perspective, was very helpful that you equipped me with.
Yeah. So that's another key piece, that you said. A lot of people want to go in and sell what it is that they currently do in the box that it's in, right? But when you're dealing with corporate, you really have to approach it as a true discovery call. I know that that word is so like, watered down sometimes on the internet, or people don't understand it, but you're coming to the conversation to really gather information. You're listening for certain things. You're seeing, okay, this is what their need is. How can I put it together a proposal and offer that meets their need? It may not be the whole, shebang. It might just be
Mhm.
this one key piece that they will be willing to pay you a premium for if you position it in the right way. So I think that's another awakening point for anyone listening, that you truly are not necessarily customizing every single thing. I'm not saying you have to tear down your offers or anything like that. Like we went based off of this workshop, but it's just how you position it. What is the things that they need? So even when you give this offer, it might be the same workshop, but you're going to talk about it differently based on the pain points, based on the things that they describe and what they have going on in their organization. So
Mhm.
love that. Okay, so now let's talk about the LVMH opportunity. I was so excited for you as a consumer of the brand, but let's talk about that opportunity, because that was actually your second contract that you landed, and I would love to hear how this one was different from your very first one that you started before we worked together.
Yeah, so the first one was more like, hey, like they already laid out everything and the proposal, because this was my client in a way. So, well, not in a way, it was my client. So the first one, like I didn't even realize that I had an offer and proposal. I had no clue. Like literally, like it was funny because from that time to by the time I like met with you, and I realized from that experience, when I enjoyed it, I saw
Yeah.
that it gave great value. I saw, like, literally even till this day, like this is now, that was the end of 2022. They still bring my name up and how valuable it was. And like, I know I left a big imprint, you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
that's my passion work. Like, as long as I left a big imprint and someone has practical things to start walking away from, it's there. But seeing where I can have an opportunity to help as many people in one setting versus so much like one-on-one or in the groups of like people who become members in my membership, because of course I service just women, right? So I
Yeah.
was like, okay, this is a way that I could still give some value that was there. It's always about value for me. So to see the difference from that one contract where I was just kind of like, hey, they came to me, versus me making sure I'm positioning myself, because the LVMH was also through a network that was
Yeah.
connected, but I probably wouldn't have been able to have everything like lined up and sharp as it was, where they was like, oh, okay, she's official.
Mhm.
I probably would have went in kind of like, well, what do I do? Somebody, or use some of the things that I did for my first contract, which was totally vast difference. You know what I mean? It wasn't the same as far as how many people, like all of those things. So I had no clue how to do a proposal, like a full, well thought out proposal, how you had.
Yeah.
But the opportunity when it came was, I was like, okay, like the fact to have you right there was super helpful, because I'm like, okay, I have this thing that's in place. I want to be able to position and pitch this. Like, they came to me. I think I probably would have not been able to establish a bigger relationship in a way if I didn't have the things you equipped me with. So that experience was really helpful. Like, as I look back, I was so glad that I pulled the trigger and decided to work with you before that opportunity came, because I was ready. You know what I mean? Like, when it came, something good, I left a good impression. I didn't come across as some little small business. I came like, just as much as they was coming to me as a Fortune 500 company, I was presenting myself that same way. I had everything in place, and I was there. I was there to provide the service with everything that they need and have everything formed. So it was just always, it was super helpful to have you to also like help me check the check marks, you know, while
Yeah.
that was still a new space to get comfortable in at that time.
Right. That is so many things that you just shared are so important. So, one of the things that I tell people is like, you actually have opportunities right in your back door. Like, we did both. So we sourced and worked through opportunities that you had and connections that you had, but I also helped you create a system where if
Mm-hmm.
this all dries up or if ain't nothing going on over here, you can go out and fish for things too. So I really enjoy the part of having these opportunities and knowing how to navigate them, because sometimes people will say, well, I don't know who to go to, or I don't have these connections. And you actually do, even if you're not in corporate. So I think that's another key piece that might be important for people who are listening. You don't necessarily have to be like in corporate still or just out of it to be able to have some of these connections. They could be literally clients of yours that you've done coaching with that have ties to these organizations. If you know how to approach it, then you'll become more confident. You have that authority that you mentioned. If you have a system in place, not only does that set you up to be successful for the one opportunity, but that sets you up for, others. Like, when the next thing comes up, they're going to think of you. When they have other connections and they're asking for something similar, you're going to be the person they think of, versus
Mm-hmm.
someone who just comes in, yeah, this is what I do. Okay. It's not as powerful. So I think that's what I took away from what you shared. And I love that. I was like so proud. I love that you felt more empowered going into it and closed the deal. You got a new contract, new Fortune 500 company that you've worked with, and can take that and turn that into so much more. So I love that. One of the things that I want to also cover, because I know this may be going through people's minds, is how do you feel that? So you left corporate, you wanted to close the door on that. Now you're not back, but you are
Anyway,
coming
yeah.
back in a different way, more as an expert and an authority, as a trainer, as a workshop facilitator. How do you feel that that differs from your experience as an employee that makes this like, okay, this is a safe place for me. Like, I can do this.
Um, I think it goes back to even what you were just saying, like how you empowered me. You helped me to see that, like, I have the power and authority, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, of course, when you get hired, you have a contract, whether it's with the client, like one-on-one, as far as with your customers, or get a contract with the organization, whether it's B2B or B2C. Like, these people who are also on the other line of a contract, we work for each other, you know what I mean? So, in essence, as far as the way I still show up and perform to make sure I'm holding my end of the bargain and what's needed and what I'm expecting on the other end, that me, my work ethic in that way is the same. But I think what it was is that who I felt like I had position in this, this agreement here, as far as providing a service, and is the fact that my authority and my I felt empowered of who I was and what I contribute in that space. So
Yeah.
I would say that's a difference from when I was working as an employee and following rules, versus I created my own organization and I made the rules, and then I also was able to um look into what spaces make sense for me, how to fish in my own back pocket, how to fish and create new opportunities, and really lay out how I want to be able to work and how I best can serve in the same way, and just negotiate. Like, that's what it really boiled down to. I didn't have as strong negotiation skills. It's still an evolving thing to always work on, but that was like not the thing for me. Definitely when I was an employee, no, I don't think I even negotiated a salary. I just took the job. You know what I mean? So now, like, I even think back, honestly, working with you, I'm like, man, there was things that I could have, positioned myself a lot better if I knew these things, whether I was in corporate, like working as a
Yeah.
W-2 employee back then.
Yeah. So that's a good point too for those who are, still in the corporate space and looking how to navigate it. We're always, what I like to say is we are our own corporations, whether we are working inside of one or running our own business. So these negotiation skills, these translating of, one thing to another, even deciding that, hey, I'm going to go in these spaces that are for me, and I'm going to go into them empowered with the skill set and the toolkit to be able to position myself properly, that can just pay off in so many different realms. So I truly believe that and love that you pointed that out. So with that being your experience, I also want to kind of get into this big question that a lot of people may feel also. If they are deciding that, and I know I was going to ask something else before this, but it just completely escaped my mind when you were talking about just this process of coming in, being more empowered. We'll get back to it if it comes. But if someone is considering not only going into corporate contracts, especially if they've had it before, but actually working with me in order to give that support and guidance along the way, what would you say to them if they're kind of on the fence or not sure if it's something that they should pull the trigger on?
Yeah, I mean, if you're really thinking about it and you want to get serious and you don't have, like, even what you might have been doing haven't been able to help you, like even everything that we talked about today, and these are areas that you need to equip. If you're serious about it, Kirsten is such, like, she's gentle, but she don't play neither. So like, you know, if you're very serious about it, I don't think it should even be a second thought, to be honest, because it's well worth it. The opportunities, of course, we're always looking at ways to grow and make money, but honestly, who you become, like Kirsten, in all honesty, like a lot of the things we talked about, like it just added more authority and value in myself. So, even down to the road where I started to get into pitching, because I think by the time I worked with you, I wasn't pitching yet. And I was able to take some of the things that we talked about and what we learned and how to be able to position myself, and knowing the authority that I had, and the fact that I was able to land a contract like LVMH, not only positioned me even higher when I was in spaces to pitch, so it's an investment that is going to pay you tenfold from you as an individual, the skill sets that you need that she can help pull out of you, as well as what you'll be able to offer in corporate. So a lot of things.
Awesome. Yes. So I just saw a comment pop up. Yep. So LVMH is Louis Vuitton Moët Hennessy, which is one company. So that's the contract that we're talking about. Celeste. So just wanted to comment on that. But yes, so I love that. I love that you shared that. I think that that's why I do what I do. I want people showing up, knowing the game, right? I feel like this is the thing that I've been able to navigate. And I'm like, more people need to know these things. More people need to know that this money is available, that they're trying to spend with people and they don't know who to spend it with. So my role or my purpose is to be that person who stands in the gap, like, hey, this is what they doing over here. Come on, let's get it right, and let's get you in front of here, because they need your expertise. You need to shed your light in these spaces, not just to have a logo or work with this company, but the individuals right inside of the companies, they need the support that you offer. So I think that's even the bigger thing to look at it, because I think some people get afraid by corporate, but you're really serving individuals. You're talking to individuals, like you said, these are regular people that were in your network. They weren't, even the people that you didn't know that you got on the phone with, regular, like Salesforce, regular people, right? Just doing the things, and the people that you serve are the same way. So it's just bridging the gap in how you can get to them and get to more of people inside of corporations. So
can I chime in really quick on one thing you just said? So that was another thing that I didn't think about. you like, even there was spaces that I spoke to people where a wellness, like, this people, corporations that are trying, that are advocating dollars towards wellness initiatives is sadly not, it's still like, I had to educate people, you know what I mean?
Yep.
Like, so that was one of the things that you helped too, where there, it wasn't maybe a wellness initiative prioritized with their budget. And instead of me just saying, oh, okay, well, they don't do that, you taught me how to like present where it needs to be. It needs to be thought about. It needs, so those were things too. Like, I probably would have just been like, well, they don't have something like that. And you helped me knowing how to listen, see of a need. And I was able to be like, well, you said that these are challenges that comes in where, sales is a default. I'm pretty sure your staff is burnt out. So why isn't a wellness initiative prioritized? I know that you have a DEI space, if you're having a higher number of, individuals within a DEI space that's highly, experiencing stress and overwhelm, like this should be a need. Have you thought, and like knowing how to ask a question back, have you thought about prioritizing dollars towards to support this? I already had the stats, the things to do that, but I would have never asked those particular questions or kind of went back in if you didn't teach me how to listen and see. And even if it's not initiative or whatever, they're going to think about me the next time where some opportunity may come into place where wellness is prioritized, and they create or look to create a budget for it.
Yeah.
And you taught me how to, like, if they don't have a budget, how to bring it in a budget, like how to work with other things. So yeah, it was a lot. It was a really good experience.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. So many good things to pull there. But the main thing is like finding the thread. I mean, you have to know, like, okay, when they say that this is an issue, like, how can you speak to them about addressing the issue with what you solve? It may not be, like I said, just straight out the box. You might have to really think outside of the box, even down to the budgeting part. Do you have, I'm going to give y'all some tea on some of our conversations. I'll be like, hey, ask them, do they have some partnerships with these other companies where they can all come in together and we can do, budget from here, budget from there, and we can run this program and it can be accessible to more than one organization so we can make this work. Like, things like that are creative ways of making it work, like you said, and a value to you, instead of just saying, oh no, let's make it happen. Like, we can make this work. So I love that you said that. Super glad that that was impactful for you. And I hope it resonates with everyone else, that you gotta get creative. When you have the right support, it's not hard at all. And then once you start building the muscle, which is what you're saying about, getting that practice in and having the conversations, it becomes easy to start to spot opportunities. And that's how people are getting these 6-figure contracts. They ain't going in just saying like, oh, they're listening. They're figuring out how to think about this in a more strategic way. So I love this. We could talk all day, literally, about all of this. But any final things you want to share with the folks? We had a few people that have popped in and out. They're loving this. I see the likes. I see the fire, the emojis. Anything that you want to share before we wrap up?
No, I shared there. I definitely want to share again. I always rave about you and saying it live to give you your flowers. Kirsten, you are a true gem. There's not people out here that has the skill sets that you have to even teach someone like me who's not in corporate, who works for myself. I haven't been in corporate in like 14 years, and how I have value in those spaces and how to be able to transfer my skills. So I mean, even if it is a thought to ever go back to corporate, I have the skill sets to even present myself. Like, negotiation is always like on the table. So I just thank you for all of like what you equip me in, not only just for my company, Her Bible Me. So even other businesses or other careers and stuff that I choose to do, like everything that was done in our time is literally was like seeds that was planted that's going to continue to flourish to more fruitful things. So thank you.
Absolutely. No problem. Thank you so much for being transparent and sharing and just talking through your experiences. I'm so glad it's been positive for you. And I can't wait to see the continued traction that you have. I was so proud to see you winning the pitch competition and, always just supporting the different things that you're doing. So keep bringing this magic to the world, to the corporate spaces, to the B2C spaces, and all the things. And I will continue to be in your corner.
Thank you.
Awesome. All right, y'all. So this is the wrap up to this series. Let us know if this was helpful for you, and let people know how they can connect with you, Lauren, if they're interested in Hervival and more on the things that you're doing.
Oh, yes. So our website is hervival.co.com. So HERVIVAL.co. We are on Instagram. We're now on TikTok under Hervival Life. But you can learn all about us by going to hervival.co and subscribe to our newsletter and learn more about our events, our Get Wellness tips. And yeah, we got a lot of really cool things coming up for this Q2 that's coming.
Awesome. And somebody typed in the site for us. That's so sweet. Thank
Well,
you.
thank you.
Awesome. All right. Well, y'all get connected with her and, reach out if you have, the specific needs around mindfulness, gut health, just getting all the mind, body, and spirit together. She's your girl. So thank you so much, Lauren, for coming. We might have to bring you back again once you get some more wins down the road, because this was amazing. And then I look forward to seeing everyone next week. I am bringing another client up to talk more about her experience. So be sure to look out for that, same time, same place. All righty. Y'all have a good afternoon.